Quarantine, state of emergency, shelter in place. The story of the coronavirus changes by the hour. So how exactly did we get here? Well, it all starts last December when some people in Wuhan, China, come down with an unusual form of pneumonia. China officially reports these cases to the World Health Organization on December 31st. And the next day, Wuhan shuts down a seafood market where experts suspect the virus originated. 1 week later, China deems that the mystery illness is a novel coronavirus. They also release the DNA sequence so scientists around the world can start developing a vaccine. They report their first death on January 11th. Fast forward 2 days, coronavirus hits Thailand, the first transmission outside mainland China. In the coming days, Japan and South Korea also announce cases.
肯定有啊，因为你看我刚刚正好去买了口罩，然后我早上的时候是在我们家小区附近去买口罩，都已经买断了。
And on January 21st, the CDC reports the first U.S. case of coronavirus in Washington state.
This is certainly not a moment for panic or high anxiety. It is a moment for vigilance.
But back in China, the virus continues to grow. Wuhan goes into lockdown, and on January 23rd, they construct a major 1,000-bed hospital within 10 days, according to Chinese media. By the end of the month, things escalate back home. The White House launches a coronavirus task force. Chicago witnesses the first person-to-person transmission in the U.S. And the Trump administration suspends entry for foreign nationals who recently traveled to China. This all brings us to February, when Japan announces an outbreak on the Diamond Princess cruise ship near the port of Yokohama. 3,700 passengers go into quarantine.
The other thing we're concerned about is how are we going to get home right now?
Several Americans test positive for the virus after evacuating the ship. Meanwhile, Italy starts to place some towns under lockdown. And on February 26th, the CDC reports a patient in California with no known travel history or exposure to the virus.
This particular case could be the first possible instance of community transmission of COVID-19 in the United States.
But President Trump downplays the threat.
It's going to disappear. One day it's like a miracle. It will disappear.
Just a few days later, Washington state records the first coronavirus-related death in the United States. At this point, the virus hits 54 countries with nearly 3,000 deaths worldwide. As we enter the month of March, state governments of California, New York, Maryland, Utah, Kentucky, and Oregon declare a state of emergency. And by March 8th, all of Italy goes into lockdown.
Tutte le strutture sanitarie sono in sovraccarico e in difficoltà. Mancano medici, insomma, la situazione è complicata.
Then this happens on March 11th.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Then President Trump limits travel from Europe. The NBA postpones its season, and Tom Hanks reveals that he and his wife have the virus. Trump then announces this a couple days later.
I am officially declaring a national emergency. Two very big words.
Now that brings us to the week of March 15th. Scientists in Washington launched the first human trial for a vaccine. The Federal Reserve slashes interest rates to nearly zero. New York City closes its schools, bars, and theaters. The Bay Area tells residents to shelter in place. Trump signs off on an aid package to ease the financial fallout. And China records no new cases for the first time since the outbreak started. There's a lot to keep track of, and it's unclear where we go from here. But we'll be closely monitoring how this pandemic progresses, and we'll keep you informed no matter what happens next.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.